Hey Josh,
Hey, how you doing?
good. How are you?
I'm okay.
Some good news, huh?
Very good news. Great news to tell everybody
Yep.
if you haven't already seen the packet. But yeah.
Hey Josh, can you say something?
Hey there, Jane and group. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm just trying to work on the sound in the room. Say something else now.
Yeah, so today is Monday.
And my, thank you. I
It's
think that sounds
almost 7 o'clock.
almost 7 o'clock. We're almost there. Captions are on. Video is on. It is 6:58, and I didn't even need to do.
No, I won't connect to the network.
We have 7 participants.
I
Um,
have,
Let me
Josh,
add.
are you running the whole? Are you running the meetings? You
I
can let
am.
people in? Okay,
Sorry, yeah, I was just talking. I didn't look at the waiting room.
fine. Let them in.
I did.
Thank you.
Oh, Chris Haley, okay.
Hi. As online, Joe, Chris, Greg Stepler, Sean, Justin's online, Nancy Toomey, RCTV's with us. Thank you, RCTV. Couldn't do this without you.
Just,
This is Zoom. This is a Zoom room. So Zoom-ish for now, like,
so say you are converting to Teams, right?
I'm not, yeah, I'm holding, I get Teams for free, but I'm paying Zoom, so, but if we do move to Teams, it affects all this stuff.
It's Jenny.
There.
And forward to the sun, what do you do in the sun?
Oh my God, what do I do? We cobbled together. Plan.
Camps and more camps.
There's some camps, there's a 16-year-old babysitter. There's some summer school.
I'd say
Vacation.
sorry about summer school kids.
Sorry,
Yeah.
they're free, you're going.
Deal with it.
I can't, I don't expensive the camps are. It's obnoxious. It's
Like sleepaway or just day
it's
camp?
just regular day camps for a week.
So, well,
So
Camden Reading, we have a
babysitters.
great program, very affordable, our recreation program is very fantastic. They're available to out of town.
He's finally out of that, he can just stay home alone if he wants,
Nice.
he's 15 now, so, but just as when he was younger, it's like.
That's the age. when you
15's the
should know
worst.
that one, just.
Yeah, right,
Exactly.
right.
Gotta go to.
Definitely.
You're gonna get a 15, it could be a job, it could be like
That's what
camp
he's
counselor.
absolutely not gonna have a job, so.
Yeah, camp
all
counselor.
right, shall we start?
I guess so.
Recording?
Yeah, we've been reporting. It's all right, we're just talking about public services.
We're live.
We're live. 7:01.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to welcome you to the June 15th Killam School Building Committee. We will take a roll call vote since we have slim pickings in the room. Pat,
Here.
Sean,
Here.
John,
Yes, I'm here.
Chris,
Here.
Kirk is not here, Ed,
It's online.
and Greg,
Here.
Nancy,
Here,
and Ed. See it online. Oh, I see Ed. Okay,
We can't hear you, Ed.
we can't hear Ed, but we can see him. Quick review of the agenda. Of public comment, we'll have liaison report. We're gonna have an update on the construction bid phase, and we'll hear a little bit about final sub bid results and the general contractor results. We will have a vote to approve or not approve alternate 1 and 2, the off-site work on the streets surrounding the site. Vote to approve the general contractor bid and instruct the town to issue a notice to proceed and then we'll review financials with all of the invoices, LBAs, Colliers, facilities clerk, Daily Times Chronicle, bid docs, and any others, and any commitments. Then we'll review the schedule, approve the 5/21 meeting minutes. So we will start with public comment. We have no one in the room, and it doesn't look like we have anybody online. So we will move to liaison reports.
Carla, just to let you know I'm here. Sorry, I had audio troubles.
Yep, no, we got you, Ed, thank you. I will just say that I will be meeting this week with RMLD to talk to the executive director there a little bit about their offering or a grant opportunity for us. So that's something we're working on as well. And we did have a meeting with Plant Moran. We had our kickoff meeting with Plant Moran. Can't even tell you when, it's a couple of weeks ago, to talk about Inflation Reduction Act and any grants or tax breaks that we may get from that.
May 27th.
May 27th. Anybody else for a liaison report? Okay. And I'll move on to construction bid.
Share my screen.
I should also add before we move on to, it doesn't look like he's online. This would be Dr. Milichevsky's last meeting with us. He is leaving us and starting a new opportunity. So I just wanted to publicly thank him for all of his contributions, with helping us put the presentation together for town meeting when we went out to vote on this thing, and for all of his contributions with the educational programming and the educational needs of the school as well. So he will be greatly missed, and we will be welcoming in Dr. Henry Turner on July 1st. So we will meet with him and look forward to working with him as well. Sorry, thank you.
That's all right. All right, so up on the screen, Zoom, you can't share multiple things or just swing a new document to your window, but on the screen, this is a breakdown of the filed sub-bidders, which came in pretty good on the column. So these are the estimates from our estimator and the designer's estimator. This is the average value. And then we have 1.5% added for escalation in this column. And then was the pre-qual estimate, the value that we had carried the pre-qualification. And then this is the low bidder column. So these are all the bids received from the low bidders. And this was the total amount at the bottom. Total low bidders came in at $31,849,560. Let me just show you a different document. So I guess stop sharing.
Just share your screen.
I can't switch in and out on Zoom. I can't pull a new tab in.
If you share the screen or the screen rather than the window, you can.
Oh, you can, there's that option. Why didn't I do? Okay, guys, I can't get my Zoom to come back up. All right. From the screen. There.
And everything on the screen. Perfect.
Okay, so this is the sheet that carries all of the estimates, the bids for the general contractors as well. And sure everyone understands that the general contractor carries that low bid number that I just shared with everyone in their value. And these are the three general contractors that submitted bids. Freight Builder came in at the lowest bid at $75,233,800, which is pretty far below our original construction estimate of $91,200,000. If you look in this column, alternate 1 and 2, these are the values that they carried for the bid alternates.
Just in alternate 1 and 2, the offsite improvements.
Yes. Yeah.
So it's the Haverhill Street offsite improvements.
Charles Street.
Charles
Yeah,
Street.
I think Charles Street was add one, right? And Hayward was that too.
I think that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Charles Street was one.
And these other columns, as we scroll down the sheet, these are all the items that we review with each bid submission, just to make sure that they provided all the correct paperwork, such as their DCAM update statements, indemnification certification, tax certification, non-collusion forms. Everything was in good order with all the packages that we received.
No issues with the addendums this time.
Yeah. So to kind of really look at the breakdown on how these numbers came in, our 90% estimate came in at $91,203,873. We had a PFA estimate, so that was before we started to work through. I think we executed that while we were doing CDs, or just before. The project funding agreement is at $101,521,394 for construction. As you can see, this is the low bidder value right here, the 75 million. And then the difference between the 90% estimate and the PFA estimate. So potential savings of $15,800,000.
Feel like we should have like fireworks going off.
I know.
I know, like a bell,
Yeah.
like something ding, 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 ding.
Yeah.
So this right here, we have the early switchgear package that we went out and already purchased switchgear or in the works of that, which is $147,000. That value will be assigned to the electrical contractor. And so that that's this number right here, the $15,281,000 takes into the low bidder with alt 1 and the switchgear package. And then this is 1 and 2. If we do vote on 1 and 2 and accept, that's the value of that. Any questions on numbers or?
I think, if you don't mind, Madam Chair, just for the record, for people who may come back and watch this meeting, if you could talk a little bit about the CD estimate and the PFA estimate, what that means. So I can watch this meeting later.
Yeah. Sure. So I was actually gonna share the 3011 and kind of get into that a little bit.
That's
more.
fine.
At a real high level, so the project funding agreement, we initially had a project budget, if you remember, when you first hired us, up to like $2 million. And that was just to do the feasibility and schematic design. And when we got to the end of that, we had our basic schematic design, our basic idea of what the building was gonna be. And at that point, we went out and we met with the folks in town, and we made sure that they understand what was there, and we asked for an override vote, right? And so, we met with town meeting, and we presented that, and at that point, we were presenting a budget that would ultimately become the project funding agreement budget. It wasn't approved at that point because you guys were still in the process of approving it. But that budget was about $130 million. And that $130 million included the 101 for construction alone. So the difference between the construction and the overall project budget includes our fee, it includes designer's fee, includes the FF&E,
Yep.
material testing, legal fees, all the other things that aren't just the construction. So that budget was always 101.
Yep.
As the design team went through, after we signed the project funding agreement, we went through design development. At the end of this design development, we did an estimate.
Yep.
And we came in under the 101. And our recommendation to you at that time is to keep the 101 budget, even though we're under it, because what happens is if we were to have reduced that and then we came in over, you would lose the ability to get that money back from the MSBA. So we always make the recommendation to not go over your funding agreement budget, but if you're under it, it doesn't mean you drop your funding agreement number. So at DD, we're under it, and then we go into construction documents, and at 60% construction documents, we did another estimate, and we continue to be under it. And then at 90% construction documents, we did it, and we continued to be under it. So the one thing that kind of points out is even though we had a $101 million budget, we were able to get what we needed to make an educational, decision, not on the dollars. And we were targeting an estimated value of 91 million. So we had the intent of saving $10 million from the original budget because we felt we could get everything you needed that would be educationally appropriate and allow you to teach these kids for the next 50 years with that $91 million budget. So again, every step of the way we submit to the MBA, we show them our estimates and they say, you have a $91 million estimate, why are you at a 101 budget? We say, well, until it bids, we don't know the final number. So we were always going to keep that 101. So even though we had a 101 budget, we never intended going out to bid that we were going to come back with a $101 million project. We intended we were going to come back with a $91 million project, plus or minus. And the plus or minus ended up being 77 or 75.7. So that's where we came in. My assumption would be, I know there's always been a discussion about that offsite work and how it really, if you weren't doing the school, you wouldn't need to do that. And so we felt if we could do it within the overall project budget, we should do it. And even with that, we're at 76.387, still $14.5 million under the $91 million estimate, and actually $24 million, almost $25 million under the project funding agreement budget.
And that's just tremendous to say it really speaks to the work of all the people in this room, particularly on that side of the table, doing that work. And for the people on this side of the table and online, following the process, listening to our experts and taking this in a measured approach, and you have just the best teams.
Yeah. The other thing that I'd like to point out, just in case anybody's worried, I think the fact that we were at 91 million, even though we had a budget of 101, probably kind of, people might just assume it, but we were making fiscally responsible decisions, but we were letting the educational needs dictate them. Like we weren't overspending to overspend. We weren't spending but we wanted to make sure we had what we needed. And, so we're under budget and you're getting the building you want. It's not like we made a cheap building or a building that's not going to be durable. It's a very durable building. It has high efficiency HVAC equipment for heating and cooling. It has high efficiency windows. It's very durable outside. We looked at durable materials inside. So overall, you're getting a very good building just at a very good price. So it's a inexpensive or a less expensive option.
It's not inexpensive.
Not inexpensive, less expensive option, but it's still a very, I would not call it a cheap option,
And we haven't implemented value engineering through this design stage yet. We have to
So-
put that
At every step of the way, we looked at value engineering, because I always say, I don't know again that I'm on budget. So we had a list.
Yeah, I knew we had a look at.
And there were certain things that I think, and Jenny, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think, for example, early on, we had tile in like the janitor's closets and in the single stall bathrooms. And I think talking with the facilities team, they said they'd rather have epoxy. And I think we went to epoxy. So epoxy is a savings over tile, but it's actually better from a maintenance standpoint. So it wasn't that we made that decision because of cost.
Yeah.
But identifying those items on the VE log, allowing people to consider them. Sometimes we said, We're not doing it to save money. We're doing it because it's a better thing to do, or it's a better way to do it. And so even today, if we came back to you and we were over budget, we had to be that we could have gone to, but we never really had to implement it, but we did implement things that made sense.
Yes. Thank you.
I wanted to kind of go off of what Jane said a little bit. This is like a huge deal, right? This is a big deal, and we don't want to just kind of let it pass. So I would like to start with Colliers and you two, with the professional advice that we're getting and the just at every step. And we really appreciate it from LBA with your group and Lee, and you always listen to us, right? You always listen to us. You heard what we had to say when we talked about the design. Even when it didn't make sense to you, I think you always kind of gave us options to make it make sense to us. So and whenever we pummeled you for costs, like what does this cost, what does that cost, you always came back to us with things like that. And always with the guidance from Colliers. So and I will say, with the people that I've dealt with in the hundreds of meetings I've sat in, at every level, I've enjoyed working with every person from both of these teams. So we really appreciate it. I'm excited about Great. Because of the things that I've heard about them so far, from the project team and also from outside the project team. So I feel like we have like the trifecta of the right group to bring us through the next few years. I have to call out Lindsay, our principal, for every option that was decided, or every design option was made by her in that school. So and I could just keep going on, from our town manager, from Joshua, from Katie, from Sharon, from every level, people have just stepped up. So this is like opening a Christmas present early, but part of that, that credit needs to go to the team that we have working. So I mean, we can't appreciate you guys any more than we do. So you set us up to be in a really good position. And we appreciate your collaboration and professionalism. We haven't always agreed, but we've always worked through them really professionally. So I really appreciate it.
Hey, Carla,
Yeah,
we have 3 hands raised, Chris, Ed, and Sean. I'm gonna go with Chris because I saw his hand first, and we'll just go down the list.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks, Josh, and thanks, Carla. Yeah, Carla put it, better than I'm ever going to be able to say things. So thank you all for, getting us where we are so far, and I'm excited about where we might be financially going forward. So my question pertains to, what does this mean? So the town went out for 130 million. Our portion was like 85 million or something. So in that ratio, where does this leave us? Because we just don't take 15 million off our number. I'm sure there's a portion with the MSBA.
I'll kind of, Mike's gonna go over it later when he goes through his numbers, but out of that value, about 6 million is from the MSBA's portion, and about, 10 million or so is direct savings to the town. What would have, when we went out for the voters to vote on this, we had said that minus the MSBA's grant, it was gonna cost the town, it was about $85 million. Right now, we're a little bit under $60 million. So we won't be taking out that money. We won't be going for a loan. Sharon is gonna be not taking out the full amount. She's gonna do it in steps. So we will never get to that point. You may see in the estimate that our numbers will be higher. Because like Mike said, we're not gonna quote unquote give the money back yet. That's virtual money. We wanna hold on in case something happens towards the end, but we just will not have taken out that amount. But savings to the town, there's a solid $10 million savings to the town. And Mike's gonna point out too, one of the numbers that I loved, when he and I were talking last week is the non-participating cost, from the MSBA. And that's a full number to kind of take a look at as well.
So you mentioned 60 million, Carla. So our portion was 85. You're saying we're roughly around 60 now?
I think it was a little under 60.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that's this bid plus the other ones that we did like 2 months ago or something that came like 8-9 million under, I think as well.
For the final subbids,
Yes.
it's all inclusive.
Yeah, so the final subbids were about 4 million, that's included in these numbers, but I would say right now, if we were to take all the savings today, which I'm not gonna recommend, but if we were to take all the savings today, the town share, I'm gonna round it up because it's 60.69, so about 61 million compared to what was going to be
That's what the alternates probably.
86 million. So the difference there on the town share could be potentially as much as almost 25 million. Almost all of that 25. I've always got to do a little caveat there because the way they calculate the eligibility of our fee and the architect's fee and stuff, it's based off the construction value. So there might be some adjustments in there. But I can go over a little more detail in just a bit. But the big thing is, if you remember, there was always a cap cost per square foot, and anything over that cost per square foot is town share.
Mhm.
This savings is mostly eliminating value that was over that cap, so that's why it's mostly town share coming back to you.
Our cost per square foot is actually under there.
It's coming potentially under it, yeah.
Awesome.
Now, none of these figures represent anything we get back from geothermal and stuff like that.
This does not include any incentives, that's right, so the incentives are above
There
that.
is some potential even more money coming back.
Yes. That's absolutely correct.
Thanks, Josh. So following on to Chris's question, and probably this is maybe more Carla for Jane. Yeah, I think it would be helpful to as this starts to get a little bit more crystallized, and maybe for the next meeting or meeting thereafter, if Sharon can start to run some more numbers as far as what that looks like in the short and medium term. As far as the bands and stuff that she does, and she's looking to do from a finance perspective, I think there's, pieces of this that we want to make sure that we share with FinCom and with others, given some of the other discussions we're having in town.
Yeah, so you, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead. I just had something to add, but I didn't know you were going to respond. I'm glad you are. I'm glad you are.
I jumped right in. No, so what I'm hearing is you'd like to have Sharon kind of give a financial outlook to the finance committee based on these numbers here, and we'll have some savings that we're gonna probably hold off in the contingency, in the owner's contingency, to hold that savings, because she's gonna ban it basically until the end of the project and then borrow the last tranche based on what we actually owe. You want to see what that projection looks like.
Exactly. Yeah. And just so that we can map it out a little bit better. And just so what that looks like, and I mean it's all positive, obviously, but those are this is exactly this kind of the scenario that I think we're hoping for. So it's good news, but just it kicks off another set of analysis that I think we just need to socialize.
Yep, and Jane, your fiscal year starts in July, is it right?
That's right.
So you're gonna have like 3 fiscal years that this project is running during, so you're gonna be able to take a certain amount this year, a certain amount next year. And then before you go to that final number, we're gonna have gotten through most of the construction. We're gonna know where any contingencies have been spent, and you're really gonna have a better understanding of how much we're gonna spend, because I started off with 130 million, 101 million of that was construction.
Yeah.
There's 30 million of other, well, some of that was contingencies, and so.
Right.
We might not even spend some of that as well. I mean, again,
We're
that's
definitely
the
not
intent.
spending the whole contingency budget right now, but yeah, no, we're not, but, I bet you do. How dare you? No, I think that, that's a very reasonable ask, and we will collaborate with Sharon to get that too, if not for the meeting next week.
Right.
You know, in July, because we are also looking at, you know, our FY 28 budget right now, which is about 6 months early. So we're looking at our fiscal future, and this is very helpful for
Yeah, so
that.
what I would suggest is we're gonna vote tonight. We're gonna inform the MSBA tomorrow,
Great.
and we're gonna try and get with them as quickly as we can. Let them come back and confirm what the new grant value is. And then that's gonna solidify what your number is. Like, so there'll be there's a little bit of back and forth with them that we need, and they're gonna need a little time to come back to us with what the updated number is. And then that might be part of the voting in the discussion tonight, is how we approach that.
How long is that timeline typically? A month, 6 weeks?
It can be a little, like, sometimes we hear in a month that this is what the number is going to be. And sometimes we get the 3011 that quick, but I'll just say with this one, we're heading towards the summer months. And we might be able to get an unofficial report sooner than later, but it might take a little time to get that back, just because they're doing a lot. They do a lot of work with schools, and you know, this is a busy time of year. I went to a ribbon cutting today, and you know, like they were, you know, the Mayor Piketty was there, and so were a lot of other officials from the NFPA.
Yeah.
So it is a busy time of the year for them as well.
Sean, did you have anything?
Oh, actually, Josh, I just want to be able to kind of finish off that.
Oh, yeah.
And again, just to kind of echo Carl's comments, you know, Mike, Justin, Lee, you know, thanks so much for, you know, for everything. And Mike, and Justin specifically, thanks for all the good counsel, and, you know, and all of the people that Carla mentioned. I think the person that you want to keep happiest the most is Carla. So good work there. Jane, a close second. So you know, again, appreciate all the help, and thanks to everyone involved.
I'm gonna hold my question. I think Mike might cover it later.
Excellent. Yeah, and I'll just say, you know, we appreciate, you know, all the kind words, and I will say that you as a committee also kind of challenged us a little bit, and that's an important part of that as well. That, you know, we're doing our part, but I think I told Jane just a little while ago before the meeting started that our job is to inform you so that you can make the right decision, and you guys did. You made the decision that is educationally responsible, but also fiscally responsible.
That's what we were looking for, Mike. We wanted someone to pat us on the back, so that's really what we were looking for.
Now, people on this side of the table, you have to ask the basic question: Do the people on that side of the table have any qualms about this bid? Do we really think the contractor can bring the job in at the bid price? Any red flags? Any suspicions? Should we be wary about this?
Great question. Let me give you a couple of the red flags that come up, and again, if anybody else wants to jump in. When we got the filed subbids, were about $4 million our estimate. As part of that analysis, I've never actually done it, but I did run this job. Our estimators always tell us, I'm not trying to be the low bidder. I'm trying to be the third bidder out of a group of 5. They're trying to be kind of middle of the road.
Yep.
I went in and I plugged in every third bid. Whether we had 3 bidders or 10 bidders on a trade, I plugged the third number in, and the value of the estimate of the third bidders was within $100,000 of our estimate. So that made me feel a little bit better. Specifically, Miss Metals and Electrical had reasonably large gaps between the first bidder and the second bidder. The Miss Metals bidder asked to have a D-scope with us, which is allowed. So they met with LBA. Justin and I kind of sat in just to be kind of flies on the wall for the most part, but they went through with LBA and asked, you know, various scope items, not specifically about dollars for scope items, but just, you know, is that, you know, is this up by this line? And I think the only thing that came out of that they didn't have, or that they were different than the designers, they actually thought they included the bollards, and the design team said, no, the bollards are actually not site guy. So that might actually help them a little bit. So their numbers are a little bit lower, but they seem comfortable at the end of that conversation. We reached out to electrical sub before the GC bid as well. They said, of course, we would have rather have a closer to the second guy, but we have no issue. Looking at Brake Builders as a general contractor overall, I happen to mention I was at a ground ribbon cutting today. It was up in Haverhill. It's Brake Builders is actually the team that they're proposing to probably be on our job, is that team. When they bid Haverhill, it was a bigger job, bigger dollar value. It was about $115 million project. But their budget was originally 130 for construction, and they are 128. They came in about 12 million under there. They're at a point where they're opening the school. They still have to tear down the old school and do the fields and parking lots. So probably 90% of that work has been completed at this point. I looked it up. They're less than 1.5% change orders. So not no change orders, but 1.5% is a pretty reasonable number. So even though that bid was lower, it's clear that they weren't trying to gouge, if you will, and they were doing the right thing. So as good as you can on a 149 lump sum low bid job, do I feel good? I do. I think I talked with the contractor today, and they were very excited about getting out here and getting going.
As far as votes going on, this our portion now.
So do we want to vote on this? Do you want me to talk a little bit about the budget stuff first? I think the budgets won't really affect this vote. I think what we would be looking for a vote here is to allow the OPM to allow the OPM to engage with issuing a notice to proceed in a contract. For Brake Builders, they are the apparent low bidder. And the question would be, do you want to do base bid with alternate 1, or base bid with alternate
So
2?
there will no bid even with the alternates, right?
There is no difference. Yeah, there is no change if you picked any, like they were the low bidder on all of these.
Comes up.
Yes.
Wait, what?
That is true. Yeah, no.
So let's start in the order of the agenda. Let's vote on to approve both alternate 1 and 2, the offsite work. Nancy, do you want to give a
Yeah, I'll do it. I'll try.
thank you.
Make a motion to approve we want to do alternate 1 and alternate 2 separately.
No, you can do them together.
Okay, to approve alternate 1 and alternate 2 as part of the project.
Second.
Seconded by Ed, and we're going to do a roll call. Any discussion? Moving to the vote. Pat,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Carla, yes. So that motion passes. Perfect.
Okay,
And then,
the builder, right? Yep.
Yep.
Move to accept Brake Builders Corporation as the contractor, and for the OPM to pursue a contract with Brake Builders for the project. Does that make
Second.
and we want to say to issue a notice to proceed.
And to issue.
issue notice to proceed, sorry, yes.
That was
Second as amended.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? Time for the vote. Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Carla, yes, and that passes. Thank you.
Next.
And we'll move to finances.
So do you want to talk about the bid finances first?
Sure, do you want to go through that? Do you want to share the 30 minutes?
Yeah, sorry. So let me. So this isn't the final 3011 because the MSBA always does their own updates, but what I tried to do is go in and take a look at it. So just kind of highlights here. This sheet, just in general, people may or may not remember this, but this is a very kind of complicated form. And what we do is we go in and we enter in all the different values. So if you remember, I started off by saying we had a $2 million budget. It was actually 2.2. And it was the OPM for the feasibility study. It was the architect and engineering for the feasibility and it's actually feasibility and schematic design. And then we had environmental and site, which was tied to the A&E. And then we had other miscellaneous costs. And ultimately we ended up spending some of that to kind of keep the contracts moving while we were going through the votes and the override votes and stuff like that. So then we plug in all the different values for everything else. So we have legal fees, we have the OPM, we have designer services, and then we get down into the construction. This is a breakdown of the overall construction from here all the way down to here. And that totals up, I made it red and bolded it here, the 101 million. So that was the budget we were just talking about. That was the construction budget. Now, we could keep going. We have utility company back charges. We have the FF&E, which is the furniture and the technology items. And then that gets you to a total of 123 million. To that, we then add these two yellow numbers, which are our contingency values. And that's how we got to the original project funding agreement overall budget of $130 million. And when we did that, if you look, there was scope excluded, it was about $42 million. So there was various reasons for that. Some of it was hazmat, which they don't necessarily participate. Some of it was ineligible square footages, things like that. But a big chunk of it, the biggest chunk of it, was this almost $31 million, which I have to manually type that in. But when I type that in, I moved it and now I'm blocking my. So if I hit delete here for a second, this is the easiest way to show it. That number shows up here. Right there, if I make that red. Now, if I undelete it, you can see that number goes to 0 right there. What happens is the MSBA has a cap on the cost per square foot. And this area here, it calculates that value up. And whatever that value is, that's what we have to type in here. So that $31 million was basically mostly due, or almost all due, to just our overall cost being above the cost per square foot. Yeah. So when I go to the new version of that, I plug in our new value of 76, that's including the alternates. And just so you know, they might deem the alternates completely ineligible. So that's why my numbers might change a little. So that number that was 31 million before is now about 6 million. Okay. So 6 million. That's 10. I had an extra number in there. So that's the number that's now goes to 0. So what does that do to the bottom line? If we gave all the savings back today, and I'm not recommending this, what would happen is we had a budget here of 130 million. If we gave back all the savings today, your new budget would go down to 103, which is the difference is that 26 million that we're talking about. The MSBA is going to take their portion back. So I tried to do some calculations off to the side here. If I looked at the initial 3011, the the maximum grant, which is this number right here. It was 43.4. It went from 43.4 to 43.1. It didn't drop very much. It only dropped a couple $100,000. I do think that they're gonna probably ding us a little bit on the offsite stuff and stuff like that. So I haven't had a chance to go back to do that, but when you look at that, the difference there is only $300,000.
Oh, so it wasn't 6 million.
So, well, the 6 million, the 30 million of ineligible went to 6 million of ineligible. So that was the 6 million. So Right now, this is saying theoretically, it could be that almost all of the savings is gonna be town share, but I do think that the offsite improvements, because it's earthwork and we're gonna be over the 10% cap, that's gonna go into it. They may do a little bit of an adjustment on our fee, on the architect's fee. So conservatively, I don't think the town is gonna get the full 24 million there. Maybe it's 22 million or something like that. Again, that's why I want to get with the MSBA as soon as we can to get those numbers firmed up for you. But it's saving. Right now, you could, if you really wanted to, lower your number down from 130 all the way down to basically 104. What that would do is that would give back all the savings right now, and heaven forbid something happens and we have some, we don't have that ability to use that money later. If you give that savings back, it's a direct savings for every taxpayer, but it's not that that money can then be reallocated for something, because it was voted by the town meeting and by the override vote.
We just need to not use it.
Right. Yep. So what happens here is typically we submit this to the MSBA. They're gonna take their share back, whatever that value it ends up being. It's gonna be a very low number, a couple million dollars, if you will. They're gonna take their share back, and the overall grant is going to be reduced by that. So let's just say, for sake of argument, if their share was $3 million, the 130 million will go to 127. That's no. The balance of that savings, say $22 million. You have, I'll give you three options. There's infinite options, but option one is you keep all of it in the project, and it all goes into your contingency. So right now, the contingencies, worst case scenario here, your contingency would be 3.8 million and 1.1 million. If we kept all that money in there, you'd have $29 million in contingency there and 1.1 there. So the MSBA would move it to construction. You could eventually move it from construction contingency to soft costs if you ever needed it. Again, I've always told you, assume anything you spend in contingency is going to be all town money. The MSBA does participate up to 1%, but I usually say assume that's a bonus, basically. So most of the time, I'm in a position where I tell districts that's what you should do. But I've never had an opportunity where you had $20 million in savings. So the first option was give it all back now. This one is keeping it all, something in the middle. And I just split the middle right down, right down the middle.
Hey, Greg, Greg's hand was up.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, I'm just
Yeah,
trying
Mike, I
to-
guess I was going to ask a different question, but now I'll ask the question that just popped into my mind is, do we have to make that decision now? Is that part of this filing? Is we have to decide and direct you on how to complete this form and reconcile with the MSBA? Is that why this is coming up?
Well, we don't have to make it now, but we're not going to get an answer of the MSBA until we make our, when we can report back to them that here's the values. They might start looking at what their share of the savings would be, but they're not going to officially respond until we tell them what we're going to do. So I think Jane is probably anxious to get that information out to the public. So if we made the decision tonight, it would expedite that a little bit more. If we don't make the decision, there's no problem with that. We would probably bring it to you at the next meeting, and try to make it at that point. So no wrong answer here. It's whatever works for you folks. But yeah, that's I guess that's the answer.
I guess the second question, and I'm not sure whether I'm confusing this with recal, and maybe Jane, the answer, but I also was under my fuzzy recollection is that not all of, even though the debt was approved by town meeting, not all of the money was borrowed at the same time. So there was an initial tranche, and then there'd be a second tranche. And I guess my opinion only is that I hate to lose flexibility and control over our own destiny by giving money back or taking savings only to find out we need it later. And I think, at least in my opinion, unless there's an urgency to do so, that reconciling when that second tranche of debt or borrowing occurs is probably a more prudent thing to do than to worry about, zeroing out and getting back to or reconciling back to some number at this stage.
Yeah, so like we don't need to necessarily kind of realize the paper savings, so to speak. At this time, we've talked, Sharon and I have talked about it a few times, and I don't want to speak for Sharon, but my understanding is her plan is to ban the rest of the borrowing through until the end, and then the borrowing will be on the second tranche will be at the end. And then we'll borrow what we need. We will not have to, we don't want to be caught in a kind of a situation where we were with the library, we had money left on the books that we couldn't spend because you have to spend it on a project sort of equal magnitude. So we want to avoid that this time and just borrow what we need to borrow from the project. So she's spent some time talking about that. The first borrowing tranche is going to hit tax bills this FY27 fiscal year. People will start to see that. So, to Ed's point earlier, kind of what's the timeline look like for the rest of the borrowing? When will that come through and people, when will they see that? So that's up to Sharon and Diane, the treasurer, make those decisions. But we can get those communications from them about what that's gonna look like. But no, we don't need to make that sort of level of decision now.
Well, the other thing to keep in mind too, so I mentioned earlier, you're gonna have 3 fiscal years, so you're gonna kind of have three bites at the apple, if you will, as you're going forward. The other thing to remember is you're gonna borrow money that first year, and we're gonna monthly submit pro-pay applications to the MSBA.
That's right.
And I'll say within 60 days, probably faster, but within 60 days of you paying that money out, you're probably getting money back from the MSBA. Your reimbursement rate is about 52%. So roughly half of everything that's going out is coming back, basically.
No, and Sharon's paying attention to that with their cash flow analysis.
Yeah. So that will help you as well. But I think at the end of the first year, we'll have a better understanding than we do right now. At the end of the second year, we'll have a better understanding. And so I think what I would recommend, like I said, almost every job I've ever done, I've always recommended the town and the district keep all of the savings. If you want to do that, that's fine. If you said, hey, I want to do half of it, in that scenario here, we might end up with the total project budget instead of 130, it might be 117 or something like that. And in that situation, you'd be taking back, I'm showing you almost $13 million there. Again, if the MSBA is 2 to 3, that might be the town getting somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 savings now, but that still allows us to keep 17 million, which I can be confident to say we're not gonna spend $17 million in contingency, but it's just there.
I think also usually on a job of this type, the biggest risk is usually at the start, earthworks. Geothermal.
And we have some potential contaminated soils, or low level contaminants.
Yeah.
But that's it. And then John, once we're out of the ground, the risk go down substantially. And then when we start digging the old building up and demolishing that, the risk gets a little bigger again. But the value of that is a very small value. So it's a potentially higher risk, but we've done some due diligence. We think we understand where the asbestos might be in the walls, things like that. But maybe there's an underground oil tank that comes up that we didn't know about or something like that. Again, we've tried to cover for all of those.
But I think it would be good politically to not to try to give the taxpayers something back. In other words, not hold on to this money too long. People are paying taxes. The questions are going to be asked.
Yes.
It's coming $20 million under budget. Why are we still getting the same tax increase that you told us we'd get earlier?
So with the bans and the bonds, you're not going to borrow it all at once. So even if we give the credit back now or we don't, I don't think it's gonna, you're not gonna see it as a taxpayer right now. What you're gonna, at the end of the 3 years, when the construction's all done, the final number you're paying is gonna be a lot less than it would have been.
And we can also.
I want it now.
We can also update once all these dollars and cents are kind of sorted out with the MSBA, we can update our tax calculator online. so
Yeah,
people can
that's what I'm suggesting.
See what that looks like too, and that'll be really helpful.
I personally am not an advocate for giving money back now. However, to determine if we're gonna keep all of it in contingency or only give back a portion of it, let's say half, does that affect, like, will the MSBA's, their numbers aren't gonna change?
No, but what's gonna happen is, we signed the 3011, that's what this form, we signed the project funding agreement.
Yeah,
The 3011 is just the name of this form,
sure,
that defines the number.
sure.
The MSBA, when COVID came, they made an exception, but 99 out of 100 times, they only let you amend that one time. And that one time is after the contractor bids. On every job we do it. We substitute the estimated value for the actual value, whether it's above or below or whatever, and then they make an adjustment, and we're gonna get that back from them. We're gonna get an update on this, and everybody's gonna have to vote on it. And if you remember, I'm gonna scan to the bottom here. We have a spot here for the chair of the school building to sign, for the chief executive officer, that's the town manager, to sign, the superintendent of schools to sign, and then for the chair of the school committee to sign. So you folks are gonna vote on that new number. So let's just say we didn't give anything back. The 130 goes to say 128 or 127 or something like that. At any time, you can decide that you wanna return $10 million. And it's gonna be no harm. It's just in your budget, you're gonna reduce that 127 down to 117. In the MSBA's budget, the 10 million is still there, you're just not spending it. Like they're gonna keep it in their budget, we just wouldn't keep it in ours. And I think the other thing we could do, we have our typical budget format. We have a hard cost contingency line and a soft cost contingency line. I'm showing this right now as all the money go to the hard cost side, because that's how the MSBA is gonna show it. We could probably add a third contingency line. I was trying to come up with a creative name on it. I called it the rainy day fund, maybe. So you keep your hard cost where it would have been, keep your soft cost where it would have been, and keep whatever percent you save on its own line. So if you ever got to a point where you were spending it, you would know you were spending it.
I've seen that as like owner's construction contingency, which is confusing, but I've seen stuff like that.
I wonder if the MSBA has a, like, rule on this, potentially.
They're gonna just say it goes to construction contingency. That's their rule. And again, I've had towns that say, well, I want to spend a little bit more on FF&E, so I'm gonna move $1 million to FF&E. And the MSBA says, that's fine. What's gonna happen is you're gonna sign this agreement with it in construction, and then you're gonna move it, and we do a thing called a BRR, budget revision request. And we move that money from construction contingency to soft cost contingency, or we move it right to FF&E, say. And the MSBA will get that and they'll say, that's fine, it's ineligible, it's all town money.
And does this value or the determining if we're gonna keep the full amount or full part of it, does that affect your fees and LD's fees?
No, it does not. So yeah, it will, whatever your savings is, or your share is your share.
Hey, Carla, Nancy had her hand up for a while. I just want to double check. Do you have anything to say, Nancy?
Yeah, no, my only question was, does this make a difference with the MBA? But it sounds like it doesn't. So I'm all for leaving the full amount for now until we know for sure that this builder will be able to deliver what says he's going to deliver. So I wouldn't mind keeping it until the second tranche of funding or some other time in the future.
Yeah, I think Nancy and I both go back to the library where
Yes.
we had to go back to town hall and actually ask, or town meeting and ask for more money, which was
Yeah.
not fun.
That's fun.
And then the other is that if there's no rush to do it now, no penalty to do it now, then keeping that flexibility, I think, is good. The only other question that came to mind was, and Jane, maybe you know the answer. What happens to money that we do borrow but don't spend? Where does it go?
Purgatory. Finance purgatory. So it stays in the account because it's been approved by town meeting to be spent that way. And what you'll see sometimes is we'll have projects that come forward and we can, because it's a similar type of project, we can apply those extra funds to a new project. And you see that we are doing the High Street project downtown with project funds from other projects that we had savings on. And I think we applied savings from the library project that was 10 years old to this project. So we really don't want to have too many extra dollars floating around if we don't have to.
I just want to say, I don't think we should aim at that situation.
Right.
No, but we should aim at giving as much as we can back to the taxpayers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we should have a philosophy which says, it's not our money, it's not your money, it's not your money, it's the taxpayers' money. They deserve to get it back as soon as possibly they can, as soon as it's prudent to do so.
So
And I don't agree with Nancy, which says holding on to the end of the job. Absolutely not. I think we need to start giving it back pretty damn quick.
we haven't borrowed it yet. Sorry.
Yeah.
We're not actually taking the money. It's there, but Sharon's process for that third year is gonna be the same. She's gonna be trying to calculate what is our end date, what is the end amount of money that we need. So she's only gonna borrow what we need.
Absolutely.
We're gonna have all that extra money sitting there, but we will never have borrowed it. So the taxpayer will never have to pay on. Her process is still.
Right, we will only, the intention here from the get-go is to borrow only when we need. We have already borrowed some money in the first
Yes.
tranche. We got our AAA bond rating, and we did that work. And so that also means savings for taxpayers. And that is what she's using to fund the project right now. And so then we will ban, which is a different financial instrument. And that is sort of like short-term borrowing. What we need to get through to the end, and then you do that major borrowing at the end from what we have left that we're obligated to pay.
So how long does that first borrowing tranche last us? When will that money run out during construction?
I don't know the answer to that.
You get that answer? Because I
Absolutely.
think that's
Typically, what I would say is what I usually see is you're gonna go for a band in, say, July.
Yeah.
And you're gonna secure enough money for that whole fiscal year. So from July of 26 to July of 27. So
Yeah.
Justin always shows our cash flow. This is based off the old numbers, and we always tell you, we assume we're spending every dime, because when you're doing your borrowing, that's what you're gonna. So looking at that right now, the estimated value today was theoretically 11.5 million. We've actually spent a little bit less than that. But if I go out a year to July, it's 87 million. So quick math, 87 minus 11 is 76. So my guess is that Sharon is borrowing something less than 76, because half of that is going to be reimbursed back to the MSBA. So she might borrow 50 million or something like that. And that for, again, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, because this isn't my expertise, but she's going to borrow something to cover that first year, assuming that like every 60 days or so you're getting a payment back from the MSBA.
But is she going to borrow assuming that the construction budget is going to be what the bid price is?
Well, this right now is not showing that. So what I'm saying is worst case scenario.
I think you should reflect that.
She should, absolutely.
You know, we should not ignore the fact that the job came in under budget. Taxpayers deserve to get some money.
Yeah.
Even though it's paper money, and they haven't spent it, it's still, you know.
I know what you mean.
You know.
Yeah, I feel you, yeah. Yeah, so she said that the first tax payment on the first borrowing will be the first invoice in FY 27. That's when the first payment on the excluded debt people will start to see in their tax. In July of 27, yeah. FY 27, yeah. FY 27, FY July, yeah.
right? So
So we wanted,
I'm hearing,
Yeah.
it sounds like we could keep it all in for now, potentially. If we want to vote for that tonight, that would be great. If we don't, that's fine too. I don't wanna make anybody make it, I will tell you, most districts, it probably goes for 1, 2, maybe even 3 meetings before they make that decision. But that just means that what happens is the agreement doesn't get signed quicker, and eventually we end up running into a situation where we're asking for payments from propane and you're not getting it. So the quicker you make it, the quicker the MSBA comes to their decision, you get the final number, and then those reimbursements on the propane become, are a little bit easier.
what value would, for a construction contingency, right? If you could have a perfect number in there, what would you put?
So on a lump sum low bid job, which is what we're at, somewhere between 3% and 5%, like 3% is probably as low as I'd go, 5%
Of construction.
of the construction value would be. So if you're at 5% of 75 million, you're only at 3.5 million, 4 million, like, so
Yeah.
we're 29 million right there.
Right,
Or that 29 will actually be down again because I again, the site work and stuff like that, but it still could be as much as, say, 27. Like,
So we could safely take 10 million.
yeah, I was gonna say, even if I'm gonna propose that we lower the construction contingency to 20 million. We don't have to, we can do a straw vote today. If you wanna go back to the MSBA, just saying, this is the situation we're in, this is what they're thinking about doing, like, what do you think?
do you have any advice?
Yeah, because they may say, no, we've never seen that before, but we feel strongly about this. And then maybe we'll put it on the agenda for the next meeting and see if we wanna.
I think that's fair.
Now,
Greg,
none of
do you
this
have any
affects the notice to proceed. Right. None of this affects the notice to
No.
proceed.
Good, Josh.
Yeah, Greg's hand is up. Just want to get his thoughts and opinion.
Thank you.
Yeah, I was just gonna expound a little bit on your suggestion. I think maybe tabling this and making an agenda item for the next meeting. I think what would be helpful, and I wholeheartedly agree with John that we shouldn't just arbitrarily borrow all the money that was approved by town meeting, knowing what the bids came in at and what we're anticipating executing from a contract perspective. Because there's no reason to hold on to that money in some sort of construction coffer, not knowing how much or how quickly we're going to need to use it going forward. But I think it would also be helpful if at the next meeting we could get like kind of a timeline of the borrowing and in what anticipated amounts or how that reconciliation in that last round of borrowing would go, just so we can have a better sense for. And to John's point from much earlier, and I agree with this as well, the amount of risk on the project will decrease over time. The design contingency should be fairly low at this stage because we've issued CDs and we've got bids, but there's construction contingency, but the unknowns are what's in the ground. Unfortunately, some of the unknowns, what's in the building that will get demolished at the end. But I think to the point John made earlier, the further we get down the road of construction, the more comfortable I would feel with reducing the amount of hedging that we make on the project by holding on to excess approved budget above and beyond what the bid and contract values are plus contingency. So I think understanding that timeline and that process a little better, I think would help inform that decision maybe at the next meeting.
Absolutely.
CFO and. Anyone else?
All right. So our project budget. So as next meeting, I think, or maybe the meeting after that, we'll have our updated figures in here that carries the actual construction subtotal now with bid savings and bid numbers. For right now, we're just showing the 101. So for architectural and engineering, we have expended to date $6,762,000 with a balance of $4,132,000. For administrative costs, we have spent $2,594,000, the balance of $5,974,000. And have an FF&E budget of $3.1 million. Like I said, these totals will be adjusted as we have an understanding of what we're going to be putting in contingency and how we're going to move forward with project budgets. But for right now, it's still reflecting $120,655,000. No budget adjustments this month. We have one commitment. This is for the Daily Times Chronicle. This is the I think this is the re-advertisement of the trade bids fee. That's for $473. And I think we have 6 invoices. Nancy, you'll notice the total for LBAs. It's broken out as over to the right when they do the votes. We have 2 invoices from David Delaire. This is the Reading, I'm saying the Reading clerk, you guys call him the clerk of the works. But David was brought on by the town to assist the facilities department. And then we have Collier's Project Leaders invoice, LBA's invoice, and then that Daily Times Chronicle invoice, and then Bid Docs, which was our bid hosting website. Nancy, you want to make a motion?
Yeah, do we need motions, right? And do we need to have the commitment first for Daily Times Chronicle?
Sure, if you want to start with that. Yeah.
Okay. Move to accept the commitment to Daily Times Chronicle for $473.53.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? Going for the vote, Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Carla. Yes, that passes.
Okay, and now for the invoices. Move to accept the 2 invoices from David Delaire. The first for $1,800, the second for $1,500, for a total of $3,300.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Carla, yes.
Move to accept and pay the invoice from Colliers for $56,333, with the invoice number 1183159 and dated June 4th, 2026.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Carla, yes.
Move to accept and pay the invoices from LBA, invoice number 23807, dated 6/10, for the total amount of $146,892.32.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? On the vote, Pat? Back, Sean?
Yes.
Oh, thank you. Sean
Yes.
and John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Carla, yes.
Move to accept and pay the invoice from the Daily Times Chronicle, number 260408, dated 4/27/26, in the amount of $473.53.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? Call for the vote, Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Carla, yes.
And finally, move to accept the bid docs online invoice number 26-GKK5-1 dated 5/11/2026 for $450.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. Any discussion? Going for the vote, Pat,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
Carla, yes. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you, Ed.
This is our forecasting log, just to track any potential costs that may come up down the line. I think we have some of these to be updated. This has already been factored into the budget as far as commitment. But as we move into construction, the total value as far as any PCOs, which are individual cost items or change orders that are coming from the contractor, the total will be reflected here, and then we'll have a log that shows all of those individual PCOs and kind of the status of each and where we are with working out the details. So our cash flow might kind of touched on some of the items for the cash flow. I think I've gone over some of the stuff, but basically the cash flow incorporates spending everything throughout the month, or throughout each month, so that there's values from construction contingencies, owner's contingency, and then the different buckets throughout the project budget. Right now we are trending a little bit below what was initially projected, but that's incorporating all of that value across the board. We're currently have to date $9,356,660. Show you on the graph kind of how we're trending just below this. As we move to construction, we will start to rise in value of money we're putting out with the different construction requisitions.
Are you going to change the green line to reflect the bid?
I was thinking about it a little bit, and I was gonna talk to Justin afterwards. I think what I might suggest is we might, at least short term, add another line, maybe like have the green line to show the original budget, have another line that shows something less than that, and it's probably gonna be a flatter because we're not gonna be spending as quickly.
Right.
But I think maybe having the green line in there might, so let us come back to you at the next meeting, but we'll come up with something that shows at least two options.
Yeah, and as Great is on board and they were set up, we will work with them to get cash flow from them.
Yeah.
And then we'll update this, but pretty much only update it once with that on cash. So that's it, the project budget this month. Any questions? All right. Schedule. So, all right, we are currently at the notice to proceed, this blue line right here. We are looking at construction for about 438 days. Looking to be substantially complete by January of 2028. Looking to get our occupancy TCO that same time frame, and then be ready to move into that school right around February break. As we discussed earlier, we'll be issuing a notice to proceed. I believe the contractor can't mobilize until its kids are out of school, which is the 22nd. And we'll have more information once we start talking to Great.
I should just tell the committee too that Lindsay is planning a groundbreaking for the students. Just a short type of groundbreaking for them, just to get them involved in case ours is over the summer, on June 17th at 2:00. So should be fun. I think she's gonna do a little presentation, show them some pictures of classrooms and things like that, and then they'll be outside with shovels and dirt and stuff like that. But we'll do our formal groundbreaking later on. more to come,
Get started on excavation.
right? Right, get them going, put them in the right spots,
Sounds like we need contacts.
right? Okay, let's go to approval of the 5/21 meeting minutes.
I just have one other quick thing before you turn, just on the schedule.
Yep.
We'll kind of touch base on it already, so we're gonna give you notice to proceed tomorrow.
Yeah.
Joshua's already pulled together most of the contract documents, like the draft documents, and we're gonna be sending those over to Braid. They basically have about 5 days to respond. If they take a 6th day, we're not gonna hold that against them, but I did talk with their project executive. He's very excited, looking forward to getting going. We'll, within, probably by the end of this week, we'll have something on the calendar for a kickoff meeting, and the design team will walk them through kind of the expectations and walk us through it, and we typically go through that in detail. They're gonna have a lot of questions about site logistics and stuff like that. I think I told you all before, we spend quite a bit on site logistics, and no matter how much time you spend on it, when the contractor gets on board, they're gonna have different ideas. So we're gonna work with them and kind of collaborate with them. If what they're asking to make any adjustments doesn't affect the students, then it's an easy yes. If it affects the students or the neighbors or things like that, then we've got to talk to them about that. We always want to give them the flexibility and the greatest ability to succeed, right? You know, because if they succeed, then we succeed. If they don't succeed, it makes a mess for all of us. But just that's short term. That's the calendar. I think at the next building committee meeting, I'll ask for Brayt to come and just say a few words, just so you can say hi to them. And we've got our site representative gonna be meeting with you folks next week, and then we'll be off to the races. Sorry.
Thank you. Do we have a motion to accept the 5/21/26 meeting minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Ed. I'm not gonna vote because I wasn't here, but any discussion? Going to the vote. Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy.
Yes.
I will not vote, so, and that motion is approved. And so for future meeting minutes, they're in the packet as well, and XLT meetings. Anything else?
Move to adjourn.
Is there a second? Ross?
Second.
Seconded by Nancy, non-debatable. Pat,
Yes.
Sean,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Greg,
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes.
and Carla. Yes, and we're adjourned, 8:21. Thank you, everyone.
Congratulations, everybody.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right,
Yeah.
great job. Seems underwhelming.
I know. Have a great night, everybody.
Right?
Bye.
You should.
Is our next meeting gonna be